And good morning, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome back to another Jedi Academy. I'm Ranger J 1999, your host and part of the RSU crew. Glad to have you guys here for another exciting edition of Jedi Academy. What's the Jedi Academy? Well, that's where we bring the best and brightest of YouTubers and game changers all together, sprinkle a little bit of RSG madness, and then you get a show. And this is a Q&A show, and the way it works is if you have a question about Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, all you need to do is pop it in chat. When you do pop it in chat, make sure you put question in front of your statement. And the one and only troll extraordinaire, Dr. Finn Medicine Woman, who is here and is not saying
Hello.
anything. Yeah, there he is. We'll go into scoop up your question, and we will get them in order. Sometimes we go out of order, but we will get your question and get it answered. And Finn will be monitoring chat, so be on your best behavior. He's going to get you. And let's see who else we got here today. We've got, let's introduce everybody, then we'll get to the mechanisms, and then we'll start this show off right. All right. Also joining us today, we've got all the way from across the pond in jolly old England, the one and only Michael Hunt.
Good afternoon.
Mm-hmm. Also joining us, part of the English Empire, but not really, but sorta, in the frozen tundra of Canada, the one and only Two Money G, who is still muted and is not saying hi because she's drinking coffee and having maple syrup and all kinds of stuff. Whee!
Sorry about that. Good morning.
Good. CT, you have to be here and have your mic unmuted and participate so we can do the show.
Hold on, I'm taking notes.
Okay, yeah. So step one, don't be muted. Step two, participate.
Step 4, profit.
Profit. Yeah, we skip step 3. We go to step 4, which is profit. Also join us. We've got the Jedi Master of Jedi Masters, Jedi Master Dasher's here.
Good morning.
Good job. You unmuted. You're right there on top. You and T need to talk. And get
I haven't listened to the steps,
Also joining us, we've got, I think that is who I think it is, from Warrior Presents, Scissorman Warrior.
Yo, what up?
Oh, he's back. After surviving a week of presidential cells, he's here to answer your questions. I hope you made a fortune. He's probably on his way to work right now as we speak. And then last but not least, we've got the Stoner Jedi himself, the father of my apprentice, Xylo Dakedan.
What's up, guys? What's going on?
Where's my apprentice? We only care about his answers.
That's just me and the apprentice today, hanging out and watching the shows.
Any Sith questions, I want him to respond. And then first choke you. Nah.
Yeah. You know it, man.
All right. 1 second. Finn, if you want to take over for a second, I'll be right back.
Sure. So we are doing this, so make sure that you guys get your questions in. I am going to be collecting the questions. Make sure you start it off with questions so the Nightbot can pick it up. And we'll kind of go around the horn with one of the big things before we start going into questions. But I do want to make a big announcement. I don't know how many of you guys heard yesterday on the lunch stream. But for everybody that got and can still get an RSG Stu Strong wristband for the ACS campaign, on Monday, they will be sent a link to an exclusive roster review of SB Crumb. So if you guys would like to see the live stream of Crumb's actual Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes roster, we will be doing that on Monday at 9 p.m. So make sure you guys do get your wristbands well in advance. I'll send it Monday probably around like 5 p.m. or so. So make sure you guys are checking your emails and you're getting those wristbands in. Does everybody here have their wristbands? And put everyone on the spot.
You sent me one, so.
All right. So let's get into what some of the news is that I know a lot of people are talking about. And the biggest thing is the disappointment of the Grievous rework. That seems to be the prevailing thought on what is going on. So let's start with you, T. What are your thoughts on the Grievous rework? Did it live up to what you were hoping it would be, what you thought it would be? Just overall your thoughts on it.
Well, considering I don't have these particular robots, I'm happy personally that I don't have to face this craziness in my Grand Arena. I'm not happy for everyone else, however. I think that, I watched the footage about 6 times before we did our live stream last week on it, and kind of broke it down, pointed out a bunch of things with regards to turn meter, choices of teams, that sort of thing. I never like kind of judging a tune before we get our hands on it. And that's usually what we do when we get the footage. We're like, wow, this looks amazing. However, it's not against Traya. It's not against defense other than bounty hunters and Palpatine. So there was like all of these little kind of hints and clues to kind of put the brakes on. So I am disappointed. I think that Carrie has responded on Reddit and has said some things that have that make a lot of sense. And yeah, the footage did not show what the product is. And that's really unfortunate. I don't know how that happened, and I hope that gets fixed. That's the bottom line for me. We can talk about anything else, but it's the footage that is off by quite a mark, and I don't know how that happened, and I hope that doesn't happen again.
All right, what about you, Warrior?
Well, I feel the same way. I think that what we saw was misrepresentative of what actual results. I think they should have a little tag at the bottom. Actual results may vary, because unfortunately. And the thing is I think sometimes, so we whales, we Krakens get in this mistake too. We get in this thing where everything has to be utterly and completely maxed for testing, and we want to see like its best max capability, and then we forget hardly anybody has them totally and completely maxed. So there's a bit of realism that needs to be remembered when you're testing. So you can it's why like when we had our, accounts and they would send us a character, a lot of the, game changers would keep them at 3 stars and then test them there because they'd want to see, could this character be used at 3 stars? Like Basilisk on Fallen can be. And we know this because we tested her at 3 stars, but they had them, every single character perfectly modded and perfectly maxed out, every single piece of everything, 60, blah, 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 kind of like is best as humanly possible, which is like less than 1% of the entire gameplay population. And then they went against teams that we don't know how they were modded. They could have been subpar modded. And with watching some of the teams, they definitely didn't have optimal modding that they were going against. So yeah, it was kind of like they were living in this fantasy world of testing. And while it showed pretty well, I don't think it showed real life, even for, the average whale who has them. So it is a bit of a misnomer when they're given and then they don't work the same. People are like, they lied and stuff. It's like, well, I think it's less about that. I think it's more about they're just kind of living in their test world versus kind of stepping outside that and saying, okay, maybe we should show some realistic footage against teams that make sense. Or if they don't show footage against Traya, maybe that means we know that Traya is good against it. So we can use deductive reasoning, but the showing the footage against Revan, like multiple battles and winning very, successfully, just goes to show that, that's not what we have right now for the majority of the player base. I personally, it's one of those things. I threw 3 new Zetas on this team, and I'm going to have them as kind of an offensive team for Grand Arena 3v3, stuff like that. I think they'll be okay, but I just don't think that was what the hype was about, was some like back row Grand Arena team. It was billed more as this like huge rework that's been waiting 3 years in the making kind of thing. So I'm just a bit disappointed it's not the paper, rock, scissors situation, because we've got Traya, CLS, and Revan that can all go to #1 right now. In fact, on my leaderboard, I still have CLSs running through there, beating Revan. I still have Treyas running through there. Not many, but there's still a few there. So it just been nicer if we had that fourth piece of the puzzle that was like, you know, devastating to Revan, but maybe totally loses to the others or something like that.
So you brought up an interesting point, and this was another thing that I heard a lot, and that's regard to like the whales and the expectations. And one of the things I heard, and I'll kind of leave it open to anybody that was actually able to kind of test it, was that there were some people that said that they tested it with like their best mods, their best health mods and their best speed and their best like offense mods, and they weren't able to replicate the damage at all with what was on the videos. And I'm not sure if that's, and the way Carrie put it in her post that was on the Reddit, it seemed like, well, maybe eventually people will figure out how to properly mod them or find out the tricks to them. So it was interesting to me, like there was a lot of people saying I just couldn't replicate that even with my best mods. So do you think it was like they're not properly modding the other team in order to boost the damage? And would this have been as big of a deal if it wasn't against a Revan team? Like if they showed this going against Ewoks, or if they showed this going against even like a First Order team or Bounty Hunter, something like that. Because we all know Revan is the one everyone cares about right now. So was it the Revan factor, or was it really like the way that they're doing their videos?
Bottom line, show the modding. Just show the modding and prove us wrong. Otherwise, you're lying. You know what I mean? Like, don't insinuate that a team of people out there who play the game for 3 years don't know how to mod characters. When you say something's based on max health, and we put Jolie Bindo's mods on our character, and we have 64,000 health, and they say it was tested at 65,000, we should be able to see a very similar result from Grievous's damage. You know what I mean? So, like, yes, there were some people out there with like 30,000 health on their Grievous going, why am I getting a 20,000 hit? Well, okay, stop. You know, you don't know what you're doing. But that's not the majority of the player base that actually is trying to make these characters work in Arena at this moment. And to be fair, let's just put this out there. If you're like a newbie and you've only been playing the game less than a year and you go into the droids, you'll probably be able to compete in the top. It's not, it's just not competitive with, you know, the competitive mods of the 2+ year player base, because mods with less than a year is way different.
Mm-hmm. I'm really wondering that too. Like, I think it comes down to what the mods were on the other side. I would like to know that. And I think that what I'm imagining is there's some sort of breaking point. And I agree, Warrior. I didn't think about that, but it's possible that the earlier shards are experiencing something a little bit different than the later shards are, where we have like massive armor and, you know, like just really, really different mods. But the thing the message that I just want everybody to kind of keep on is that what was shown on the videos is not what we got regardless. And I think it's just, you know, we've all learned a lesson here, is that we need to see the stats, all the stats, not just speed. You know, if you have speed across the board that's super fast, and you have your Jolie modded with, you know, 2 offense, you know, an offense triangle and an offense cross, you know, that, you know, it's just, that's not the way of the world, right? So we need to see all the stats, and yeah.
And if they could stop throwing game changers under the bus, that would also be quite nice.
I don't personally feel thrown under the bus. I don't know if other people.
Well, no, just
because how we approached it, we were like,
a particular game changer was nominated to showcase the footage. Now, that could have really gone the other way. What, you know, as it seems to have panned out, and I'm glad for it, that it's like, hang on, this is because he was given, or they were given, bad footage. But, you know, I mean, to give someone something which misrepresents a product so badly and have them showcase it on their channel could be really damaging to them. And you know, that's another part of this. It's hitting out in all sorts of ways, isn't it? It's just, yeah.
Well, the other part to that too, this isn't the first time that we've seen this issue with footage, and as I'm sure Warrior can attest to, having these, like getting this kind of footage early for a while. It's always one of the caveats we've always said is that when you see these videos, look at it for just the general concept of it. But especially with the game changer videos, once they start to do their gameplay, like things get a little bit different. But you can kind of tell when it's stock footage that they're kind of given to use versus when they're actually doing their gameplay as game changers. And it is important to make that distinction between them. I don't know if you guys, especially because we have a lot of game changers here. I know good old Maurice joined. We have T Money. We have Warrior. What have you guys done in order to help with that? Because I'm assuming you guys see that as well, right? Kind of the your footage versus using stock footage and kind of the difference in sometimes the way that it plays out.
Well, my footage and CG's footage matches identically. Just kidding.
Welcome, good old Maurice.
Yeah, well, I just come back and then I hear good old Maurice being good old Maurice. Yeah.
The problem, the outrage and all this, I understand it, but the hype train for this character in this faction has been completely fueled by us. CG didn't have to sell anything. The community just hyped this character and this faction rework up so high before they even saw it in their character boxes. You know, that's kind of the issue. And then I guess people have been waiting so long for General Grievous. They weren't going to be satisfied with anything unless Grievous goes in and one-shots a character with a basic attack, right? So, I mean, it's not as good as they made it look, but nor is it as bad as everyone's making it out to be. So,
well, you know, I sat with Mist. We did 3 hours on Thursday, and we on his test account, and we maxed the hell out of the team. Okay. And like for instance, you know, we did it against a bunch of Revens, and you know, I mean, we were trying to recreate that damage that we saw, and we were able to a little bit at the end when Grievous had, you know, at the end of the match where he had stacked a bunch of stuff, getting close to those hits. The other thing too is like, you know, we took a max Grievous team against a CLS team with crap mods. He went in there with crap mods, and it just destroyed it. You know, Sith do the same thing. So I don't know. I don't know what testing CG's doing on this. You know, I mean, I agree with you, good on Maurice, about the community ramping it up and stuff. But I mean, I think all of us, and I know we were especially saying, do not believe the hype. Wait for it to come out. Don't invest anything. Don't do anything. Let's see the kits. Let's see how good it is. Let's see how it works against other teams. Even when we saw the footage for Revenue and Finn were on lunch streams going, okay, but what were the stats on that? Let's get some more. I mean, let's get. And
some so more were we, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's what I said. We all were. Yeah, we all were. But you know, I mean, so I think we were trying to stem some of the community, you know, about. Because I'm sure you guys got this too. We were getting questions about how good do we think Grievous is, and what do we think, and is it going to be able to kill Revan, and you know, what do we think of the kits? And it's like, wait, don't invest anything. We don't know how good it's going to be, you know. So
did CG dub Grievous a Revan killer? Or I feel like kind of the community did that just preemptively.
But no, it's the footage, yeah. And that was the thing that really set it off. Was, you know. They never said it was. However, when you show a video like that, where you show the top meta team against this Grievous team, and the Grievous team is beating the Revan team, you're gonna it's imply that, oh, this can beat Revan in a general sense, right? That's what it showed.
Not in a general sense, in a very specific sense.
Right, like, yeah.
Like, that's my beef, you know? Like, whatever it does, I think the team has value. I agree with good Maurice. The team has value.
Yeah, it could be JTR and some other teams, yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to have value for people that have it. But, you know, I think that there's a fundamental issue that we have to solve. And if CG is going to, you know, like act as if they're part of this community and, you know, come on the forums and talk to people and interact with us, I think that we deserve kind of that same, you know, that same sentiment when we're being given footage like this. And what I've been saying for a while, and I'm, this is not unique, is that, the game changers, it's like, okay, so I think that the problem is that the game changers were making the footage and it was just kind of all over the place, like, here's a big news flash. Some of the game changers are better at the game than others. That is a fact. It's just a fact. Go look at our rosters, okay? I've made some terrible Zeta choices. Maybe Warrior hasn't, right? Like I have better mods at my GP than others have at higher GP. It's just the way it is. So we're making this footage, and it's inconsistent. And I think that that's the problem that CG is trying to solve. They're trying to get the footage to be more consistent within, when it's released. Fine. So work with the game changers who are actively playing the game on a daily basis to create footage that is, they could be like, no, you're not doing this, you're not doing this. This is what the character is meant to do. Go back to the drawing board, and then we can go back and change the footage. Like, we have NDAs, we can't talk about it. Why not send us to do that? And that's my feeling. I don't think that cleaning up this mess is worth any extra sales that they might have gotten from showing him as a Jedi killer. We could have shown him in a wonderful light. But I'm also wondering, why isn't he a Jedi killer? He's General Grievous. Like, why not make him a Jedi killer? Like, what's the point? Like,
the four sabers in his arms.
Here's your robot. Shush, right? Like, I don't know what the point is of not making him kill Revan. Like, if you want him to last a little while longer, then don't release Grievous right now, because he's not beaten Jedi. So I don't know. It just doesn't seem to align with canon. Although Revan and Grievous were never.
Well, I think you make a good point, T, and that is that if I was CG, I would have all the game changers a couple weeks before you're going to release something, right? Give them the stuff. Say, here you go. And let you guys play around with it. Let's say do 20 battles with this, or 5 battles against some of the top meta teams, and give us your feedback, and get all your guys' feedback, and then see what's happening, and then pros and cons, and then you can put out a video with a lot better understanding of what the team is capable of and market it.
With Revan, I literally did hundreds and hundreds of battles, like over 200 battles with Revan in a series of like 5 days. But it's like, it can be good old Maurice and Warrior, and they just go and make the footage with them. I don't need to know about it. I don't need to know about the struggles that happen. Just like someone who's, and I've always said, they play the game. I don't know from this footage if they do. I'm not sure. So I think it needs to be them partnering with.
Fair, I've tried to pair with them in the past where I said, go ahead and look at my video and tear it apart and tell me what I'm doing wrong, because they know the ins and outs, and they can tell me how I've made mistakes. And one of them was on the video where I kind of showed L3 in a negative light. For the record, she still broke, guys. Hello. So anyway, I had told them in my video, I was a bit frustrated she wasn't cleansing the dots, and in the video, I just deflate. You can see me visibly deflate. I was making the video as my first take. I know that you don't do that, but I do. It was my first take. I'm making the video. I was near the end of the video. I'm like watching her. She's supposed to be awesome. I'm going against, it's Darth Vader lead. The Zeta requires that the dots stay. It was nowhere in her kit that she's immune or anything like that. And the dots were just cleansing. And I got pissed. And I ended the video prematurely. It was terrible. I put it up, and they were really upset with that, spin that, I was just deflated. And I get it. I understand they weren't happy with me being unhappy, but that was just me being real. And where I was at in that moment with the situation. And then I said, it'd be nice if we got these things to test properly. And then they kicked me back saying, well, you didn't test properly to begin with, so maybe you want us to help you out. So I told them, I said, what did I do wrong? And then they gave me a bunch of nitpicky things that were preferences versus critical decision-making errors. If I decide to go after Jolie nonstop and lose, people can say, you're an idiot, you need to kill and activate the hero version of Revan on Yoda, because he's the lowest health character on the team. That makes sense. Tell me that. But if you say, hey, well, you killed Yoda by doing a mass attack versus this or that, it's like, those are preference choices, and every decision can be critical, but sometimes decisions, it's more than one way to skin a cat type situation. So I don't know. Sometimes in the past, I've been given feedback that was less than, awesome feedback. It was more about like, hey, why don't you change your gameplay to match our preference versus a need. So I don't know. It's kind of a double-edged sword too.
Well, it is when you're talking about a company that's trying to market a product, right? They're going to have a different mentality than say you as a player and game changer are going to have about how they want to present the information. Most the game changers are going to keep it real. They're going to say, well, I think this and this, and if it's not positive, companies don't like that because it doesn't sell. So it's a very, you are right, it is a very knife of the edge kind of balance act you guys have to play. So, and that's why you have me and Finn to yell and scream.
I don't know if this is healthy for the company either, though.
I agree 1,000%. No, absolutely.
We're Star Wars fans, like we're loyal and we're fussy. So I don't know. I don't think you want to piss off a bunch of loyal, fussy people. It's just it doesn't make sense to me. I honestly think that there was. I think mistakes were made. I think that there was mistakes. I think that this came out and it was like, great. It's like I think that's my just complete intuition, which is ridiculous to say, I guess, out loud. But but I just think that I think there was mistakes.
I can't believe that there wasn't at least a meeting where it was like, have you seen all the rumors that GG is going to be a Revan killer? We need to tell them, no, he's not. And then the sales director saying, hang on a sec.
How do you want me to sell this again?
Who won that argument? I wonder. The morals over the shareholders. Yeah.
Yeah,
we know how that normally pans out.
Oh, it's a PR hit. I've always, being a marketing major and my experience in marketing and stuff is, if you're going to do PR, be transparent. The problem when you're not transparent and you try to sell a bill of goods, intentionally or not, right? It doesn't matter the circumstances, is that when you try to not do that and go in a different direction, it always comes back to bite you in the ass. It always does. And it causes more problems than the good. If they had come out, and I agree with what's been said here, if they had said, look, this is what Grievous is good against, and this is what he's not. He's not a meta killer. I think everybody would have been fine with that. Some people that just love Grievous would have invested and stuff, and there would have been no problem. But they didn't do that. And it's just kind of makes me shake my head. What is
CG's punishment for exploitation again?
Well, listen. At the end of the day, it's
financial gain.
It is what it's about. It is about the bottom line. Companies have to make the bottom line, and you got to make that money. And I understand it, but there are ways to go about it, and there's ways not to go about it. And you can still make a profit. So
are they going to ban themselves for 60 days and come back with a freestyle Bastilla?
I don't think that's happening, Mike. Maybe I'll do that in England, but the English chapter of CG will get a ban, but I don't think that's going to happen anywhere else.
No, I'm just kind of tying it in, the how they act when people transgress and are non-transparent about it, and then they go and do this, and it's like, hang on a minute, you can't have it both ways.
Yeah, but I mean, the frustrating thing for me is like, this isn't the first time that stuff like this has happened. I think the moral of the story, guys, is listen to the game changers. Listen to us, because we're trying to tell you and say, wait. I mean, I feel bad that the people that invested. I just wish there was some kind of way that maybe they didn't see any of our videos. So there's a lot of people that do not watch YouTube that play the game. They don't read the forums. They just like to play the game. They see something and they spend some money. And
even me, like, I watched this video and I'm embarrassed to say I was like close to tears. I was like, I'm so far away from this. My Grievous, he has the stars. He's gear 5. There's so much gear involved. I'm looking into the gear. I'm trying to think of a way. I can't even buy myself out of this. It would be like, I don't know how much, but hundreds and hundreds, probably over $1,000 by the time I got all of the gear. I'm so broke on credits, like I was just like, it's not possible for me. My heart was broken. All my guildmates are getting it, and I'm like, I'm not going to be able to support my guild. This is crappy. And, I was on that train, even though, because the footage was just so blatant. And
there is the one reward, isn't there? And it's kind of, I'm comparing it to that 5 million blue speed arrow in the crystal store, which is if you invest all of this, you get the opportunity to get a 20 million single hit on Treya in phase 3 of the heroic Sith. Yay!
For 3 days until they fix it.
Adostra, were you happy that Grievous wasn't a pure counter to...
Yeah, Jedi Dash was like, yes, excellent. Another foe falls before my Jedi Knight.
Well, I mean, I kept wanting to chime in, but I'm like, I'll just wait.
No, I understand. Yeah, well, it's one of those subjects that it's a passionate subject. But yeah, take the floor, GMA.
But no, I mean, you just touched on that other note too, the Sith raid. They never seem to ever test up for the raid. This was found out right away. Throw the team in, try it. Oh my god, you can one-shot Treya. And then they respond, oh, we're going to look into this, guys. It's like, really? Wow. But as for Grievous, I was hoping there would be more variety in Arena. I was looking forward to trying some fun combos against him. I have my Eth Koth and my Imagundi. I thought it'd be hilarious to try some out-of-the-box Jedi counters to that. And it just, again, variety. I like Arena variety. I mean, I'll run my Jedi regardless, but it'd be nice to have more options in there. I mean, it's just so dominated by Revan, which is awesome. I'm glad Jedi finally have their time. But this Grievous, I mean, you guys touched on it really well, that it showed potential to be a very good counter, which it can. Some people have gotten it to work. It can counter Revan. It's just not as hard of a counter as you were led to believe, which is not surprising. This is nothing new, which cracks me up too. This happens over and over with CG. They always have to hype stuff up because they want the sales. And then people are angry that it's not as it was. Then time goes by, people find awesome uses for it, and we move on. So it's kind of like that. But again, this whole team, though, it's still, after all that investment, though, that's the other thing. It takes so many Zetas, it takes so many, you have 2 marquee characters in there, too. So some people aren't getting the full power of the team yet, either. So once you have the full power, then that's going to be a difference, too. So it's I don't know.
Well, it's right on point. All right, I'm sure we're gonna get questions about this. Let's just delve in. First question, we'll go to Warrior. Finn, what do you got for him?
All right, so for Warrior, the question from Max Dog: for territory wars in Grand Arena, do you prefer having a fast or slow nest for defense and also for offense? So how do you go with your nest?
If I was going to leave mine on defense, I'd want her really, really fast. If I was going to use her on offense, I would use her really, really fast. I don't do the slow version though. Mine's not super fast either. 290, I think, is what I have her at. And I just use her on offense. So that's it. There's nothing special about it. She's a plug and play tool that I use against certain varieties and comps. But what a lot of people use her versus is Bastila, with the Jedi, and I don't. I actually use her for differing purposes. So yeah, I don't have a specific strategy as far as speed. I don't use her like lightning fast or super slow and tanky. I just have her like I've had her. But I also am a lazy modder. I like to put somebody to a decent mods, and then I like to move on. I hate moving mods around, and I definitely don't do loadouts. I don't try to constantly change people around. I say, what does this character need? And then I give him the very best set that I can give him or her. And then I move on to the next character and try to mod that character as best as possible. And then as I find out that I need to, raise a little health here or do that there, I tweak them or try to swap out a specific mod. And I say, this person might need it more. But I'm not a huge, I'm not like Pimo, I don't put on, all these mod sets and change my mods 16 times a day. It's just not something I'm going to do. So it's also too many credits, to be honest. So she's fast, but she's not too fast. She's like 280 to 290 is where I have her. And I use her on offense primarily.
All right. Next question for T Money G.
Okay. Well, this question, I can give you another one if you think you've answered it already, T. The question's from What Else 73. What's worse, not showing Revan footage or showing skewed Revan footage as it relates to this?
I don't think either is gonna work. I think that we have to see Revan footage with Grievous. I guess Revan footage. Yeah, if they just didn't show Revan, then it would have been a very clear message. It's just, I don't know. I guess it's just a little bit more complex. When we go and when we did have access to the test accounts and we played with these characters, like I said, we would do, Gil Maurice and I, between the two of us, would max our arena battles out and then some, just trying to make sure that we knew how to use them. And we're modding them correctly. So it's not an easy thing to do, to kind of go in blind. They never tell us, this is how you mod this or that. Like, we just had to figure it out all ourselves. So I think there's there's an element of that, is just knowing the character and just being able to figure out how to use it. So yeah. It's not a simple thing, as you guys know, right? So with Revan, when Revan hit, we had done all those battles, just like poured over him. We're like, this character is so OP, so amazing. This is so great. And then he like landed in arena, and people couldn't use him. Jedi Master Astra could, but everybody else was like, this is horrible. Oh my gosh, we worked so hard, and this character sucks. And then 72 hours later, everyone's like, oh, okay, I get it. Revan needs speed and Yoda needs offense. We figured it out. But it takes some time. I think that we can say with Grievous that we're probably at a point where we know that we can't figure this out. There's not a way to figure this out. Now, will he work in other places against other stuff? Yeah, he will. But I don't think that he's gonna. This particular compilation is going to work consistently against Revan. I thought, and this is what I said, I was like, General Grievous is a tool for lazy whales who, which my guild is full of, and I adore them, who just want to put Revan on defense in Grand Arena and Territory Wars and have like an absolutely hard counter. Just made complete sense, right? Not everyone is going to get this character. Going to be few and far between, and frankly, they said, Carrie said on the forums that she didn't want to eclipse people getting Revan just now, but not a lot of those people are playing in like the top 5 guilds where they're going to have this stuff. Like, not a lot of guilds have Revan, and I think if you're in a guild where half of your people are just getting Revan now, not half of your people aren't going to have General Grievous. So I don't know.
All right. Next question to Mr. Hunt from England.
Okay. Question from Fat Tony 99. I'm moving around some mods. Is it worth dropping 9,000 protection and 2% armor for 3,500 health and 15 speed on General Kenobi for a Revan team?
Personally, yeah, I like to have my Kenobi move in rather than soaking everything up. Yeah, I would I would go that route. Definitely. Yes, do it.
Is there a breaking point for you, or is it always just speed is better when you have Kenobi, as long as you're not losing like
well, I think no. There's it's speed wins for me over everything else, except for the slow tunes, the ones that you don't want moving. Couple of tanks, and that's about it really. But other than that, speed wins. And if it's a Kenobi, then chances are it's a Revan team which runs on speed. It's all speed.
All right. Next question to Jedi Master Dasher.
Okay. Question from Darth Scion, 1972. Question: which 5 Jedi and how should I mod my Revan team to maximize my damage in Phase 2 of the Heroic Sith Raid?
Ooh.
Okay, the main team is going to be Revan, Grandmaster Yoda, Bastila, Jolie, and Hermit Yoda. That's going to be one of their strongest. That's what I always use, and it's the most consistent. I've tried other Jedi in there, even Ithra. So Hermit Yoda, he only cares about speed. He doesn't care about anything else. You want to make him as fast as possible so you can get that master's training going right away. And then his basic attack will give a TM boost to the team also. So just as much speed as you can throw on him. Grandmaster Yoda, you want him to just dish out as much damage as possible. So a crit damage set is going to be your best one. So, the 216% or the 222 if you can 6E that. And then whatever offense you can throw on him. He doesn't care about speed for the raid. You can have him slow as dirt and just a powerhouse. And that would work really well. And Revan, you have a couple options here. Fast offense set would be the best because he's actually a very good damage dealer too. That if you can capitalize on his damage output, it really helps to boost your score more regularly. But you still want speed there, so like a fast as possible offense set because you want him to be passing around the TM and the getting his marked off, and then Bastila, you have you can also go a fast offense set. That's what I ran for a while because her basic, she can deal pretty good damage. But she's mainly there, you want her fast because she's mainly there to give the buffs to Yoda. So you constantly want him buffed up. So having her fast will help keep that consistent. And you'll often TM swap anyways, but that just helps. And then Jolie, it doesn't really matter. I've tried him both ways. I had him really fast and I had him really slow. It made so little difference because he's Jolie. You just want him healthy is the main thing. Just give him plenty of health first. And then like speed wise, it would help in the sense that you would get to summon Yoda more. But the downside is his attack, Jolie's attack is so stinking weak that at times he'll go and get to attack and it's just a waste because every time Scion gets hit, it gives him TM. So that's where I kind of like the slower version of Jolie because he won't get the waste as much. But at the same time, the health is all that matters. He's just kind of there for Enrage. If you have the Zeta on him, you can possibly keep going past Enrage. Like I've gotten 35% before in Phase 2. I think I got them all in there. So hope you put up an awesome score. Good luck.
All right, next question to Stoner Jedi. Dr. Finn.
Okay, so the question that I have for you, Xylo, because I think you watch more videos than probably most of us, I would guess. So this is a question from Eric H. And this is kind of a hypothetical, but I think I'll give context afterwards. So Eric H. says, what if they rework Cup and give Warrior an exclusive? It kills Revan in the video but sucks in real life. Will we stop watching Warrior? And I think this is largely directed at the fact that there's a lot of misdirected anger right now at Arnold. So what are your thoughts, especially as a person that watches videos, Isla?
Well, so that's kind of like what Mike mentioned earlier, right? Like the video, like, all right, introducing the Grievous rework, the first thing Arnold says in the video, right, is what everybody's wondering, can Grievous beat Revan? And then it starts out and shows a bunch of clips of him just smoking Revan, right? But it's not his fault. It's not his fault that that's the film that they gave him. That's not, it's the way that he was expecting it. It was the way that he was looking forward to it as, the character. He wanted the character like that in general. But, if they did something like that, that's another thing that Warrior mentioned too. It's like he's real in his videos. And that's why Warrior's one of my favorite content creators, because he's not afraid to give you that extra bit of information that you really want to know. And that's, at the end of the day, you can't fault Arnold for the content that they gave him, right? And if they give you information that you're not able to give us, like Warrior does, for example, then our expectations that it's going to be like a meta killer or a big meta changing team in general. It's misdirecting it from CG's perspective, in my opinion. So I don't think you could get mad at Warrior for presenting something like that cup video, for example. It's just I think this whole thing's funny for sure.
And Warrior, do you want a cup exclusive?
Sure, yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, if I don't get the cup exclusive, I'm gonna pull my hair and scream really loud.
Warrior would kill it.
I thought you said you're gonna delete your channel for a moment there.
Yeah.
I've never said I'd delete my channel. I wouldn't say something silly like that. That would never happen.
But he will pull out his hair. That's not silly.
I am going to cut myself if you hurt me.
You heard it here first, people. Warrior is masochistic, and he loves it. All right, next question for good old Maurice. Good Carolina up in here.
So, good old Maurice, question from Deadpool Kyle. How about the new Sith raid nerf with droids? Is it time to buff the raid instead of the characters causing the BS loops and damage?
Well, we've learned time and time again that's simply not going to happen. They're going to continue to tweak the characters. Well, I say that, but they did nerf the exposed damage on the raid. You can't look at that video of General Grievous and be like, "Oh, that's working as intended." That's clearly not supposed to happen. That's not real. So, I mean, again, just like at least like T Money and I have been doing for months now, like with the Finn, like, guys, this clearly isn't working like it's supposed to. Do not invest in a character for a flash in the pan video like that. Like most people that have the Finn Zeta have had it for a long time. I hope you didn't invest a Zeta in a character for a kind of a broken mechanic. And same thing with Grievous and some of these droids. Don't go all in because you see, General Grievous, landing a basic attack for, 28 million. Like that, don't do that. Like it's definitely getting nerfed. And it should get nerfed. But that doesn't mean General Grievous is not going to be a bad raid character, right? So, I mean, he's going to be a very, very good raid character. And, actually have two separatists. They kind of synergize with one another with Grievous and Asajj. They both have stacking mechanics. There's potential for those two to kind of work together now to put up some big, big raid scores. I'm sure McMole and Skeltrex and, I'm sure those guys are going nuts. This is a dream come true for them.
It's kind of like a rite of passage, though. Every new character breaks the raid somehow now.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Just everything. Yeah.
What did you say? All right, next question back to up top to Sirzaman Warrior.
Okay. So question for Warrior from Paparazzi. Is it possible that we haven't figured out how the Grievous Arena meta team yet? I.e., should L3 go in there somewhere?
So, no, I'm not on L3. And you're right about them giving us a character that, or a layout of characters that maybe isn't optimal. So there's a possibility of those, being redesigned or a different character being added. I like IPD and IG-88 in there for a more offensive, target lock, synergistic team. There's a lot of different options and variants, and I think you can kind of tweak it to your preference, but I don't think any light side droid is going to enhance it better than any dark side droid.
All right. Next question to Canadian Money G.
Okay. Question for Team Money from John Pritchard. What are your favorite Grand Arena defense and offense teams? Any unique defense or offense teams? Thanks.
Are we talking 3v3 or 5v5?
We'll do 5v5 because there's another question for 3v3 that we'll get to somebody else for.
Well, I guess, let me think here. So we've really, in our guild focused on Rev encounters big time. That was one of the reasons that I was like, no, General Grievous, because that's, I think, an advantage that we have over other guilds is that we've really worked hard on that. So Nightsisters, Rey, Revan used to be Zeta Finn and CLS. Zeta Finn and Han. That's going to get nerfed very soon here. And so I really like that. The Nightsisters are just, if you mod your Nightsisters to kill Revan, they are so good on defense. And it's so hard for me to hold them to kill Revan these days because they hold for me like gangbusters. It's just so good. And then Rey, really, I do have a slow nest. That's how I use my my nest, either to go in and take down Bastila under Kira or just by herself if the team is easy enough. We're going to be seeing a big change in the coming one or two grand arenas where there's going to be a big shift towards using characters on offense that keep their protection and that can also solo teams. My last grand arena, I opened it up to a completely clear board and a score that was 45 points short of perfect, meaning if this person had gone in with a single character and left with full protection on all of those squads, they would have gotten a perfect score. They were 45 points short of that. So that was shocking to me, put me on my heels a little bit. And shout out to Angel who talked me down off of that nightmare. I ended up winning, but it made me realize that there's going to be a huge shift to teams like the Bounty Hunters, Kira, all of those on offense. That's one of the reasons that I put Nightsisters on defense, is because they lose their protection guaranteed. Treya's the same, although I do keep Treya for offense because I hate killing the Nightsisters, so I use those against the Nightsisters, use that team against the Nightsisters. But I've got to change that because it's a whole new world out there in the next week or two. So learn how to use your Bounty Hunters. You learn how to use Kira if you're at the top of your arena, fall in your arena, and you learn how to use these squads that you can get out with full protection. It's a whole new world.
A whole new world. A whole new place.
I like how I think you forgot the lyrics there, huh?
No. I can show you the world.
Warrior obviously does.
Shining, spinning. Of course I know those dead. I only watched that goddamn that I've seen that. Oh, when you have nieces and nephews, yeah, you watch all that. I've got like those movies like ingrained in my brain. Beauty and
Ratatouille was a great movie.
Oh, they are. I love the Beauty and the Beast is still my favorite Disney movie of all time. The cartoon, not the remake they did recently, but yeah, that stuff's in my brain. All right, next money for Teen Crumpets. Mike.
Next money? Did you say next money?
Did I? I don't know. I got so much going on.
Yo.
Next money for the question. We go to question Mike.
Okay, so question.
I have dyslexia.
From Bad Rongo. I have just noticed my Canderous can put dots on tunes with tenacity up. Is there something I'm missing in his kit that bypasses tenacity?
I don't know is the very quick answer. I am clicking on to having a look at my one now. Well, What lead is he running at? I mean, that would be part of it, wouldn't it? The lead. I'm guessing it would be.
It's usually the Candra's is. Yeah, I guess it depends on who the lead is.
There's probably going to be a Karth Onasi lead.
Yeah.
Yeah, most likely Karth.
Yeah. I think it's just the fact that he just keeps going. He's a jackhammer, isn't he? And once he gets through that first time and lays that debuff down, he's just you're not losing it once you gain it until you've got some sort of cleanse mechanism going. That would be my assumption. You know what? I actually haven't used him. We're talking about Grand Arena earlier, and I just slapped my Old Republic in defense at the moment. So I haven't actually had a real proper go at using mine. That's awful.
Well, I just looked up what Tenacity Up actually does. It adds 999,900% tenacity. It could be a case that your Ordo has actually over 1 million potency. That's an option.
Is that all? God.
Yeah. Great mods.
Yeah.
Not as much.
There are some mechanics, and I don't know if Candra's works this way because I haven't really played around with him either. There are some mechanics that don't go through tenacity and potency in order to do debuffs. Simplest one that I think I'm most familiar with is like the Dengar crit down, right? When you do his AoE, and then if you crit, you have a chance on putting tenacity down. So some things can go around that. The wording on his unique basically just says whenever he deals damage to an enemy, he inflicts a damage over time. I'm not sure if that's bypassing potency and tenacity. I haven't been able to test it. Has anyone here played around with Candra's to know how that works?
I haven't played around. Sorry, I'm just jumping in quickly. I had a look at Karth's lead, and the first line of it is Old Republic allies gain 30% potency, tenacity, and critical avoidance.
I'd say record it and send it in to the developers, because Tenacity Up, the only thing that I know of that goes through Tenacity Up is Stagger, because it's turn meter loss. It's affecting turn meter versus character stats. And then you've got other debuffs such as things that override that are like cleanses, like, fracture and isolate. But traditionally when Tenacity Up is up, you don't land dots. You can't land dots. It's like
unless there's tenacity down. You have tenacity down that can go. Anders has that on his face.
Yeah, we'll see what tenacity down is it's a switch. It flips. It goes from if you apply tenacity down, it instantly switches it from tenacity up to tenacity down. But like Stagger is just about turn meter. It's a reduction of 100% of the turn meter pool. So that can be applied even with tenacity up. But basically, other debuffs, if you have tenacity up, it says no. Period. You're not going to get through unless there's some specific thing like that that says it goes through. But so I would say that it's a bug. I would say that if you were trying to apply dots and it's applying on a tenacity up character from him very specifically, I would say that is definitely a bug. It shouldn't apply to that character.
Did you hear what Astra said there? She said that Ordo has tenacity down on his basic, so tenacity down is unresistible and it'll override everything.
If he has tenacity down on his basic, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Here,
I guess
his unique
I didn't even
Mandalorian
read that.
veteran, his unique Mandalorian veteran, it says it right at the end of the final text. It says, whenever Candra's deals damage to an enemy, he inflicts damage over time. So whenever he inflicts damage, doesn't matter potency, tenacity check. It's just whenever he deals
usually
damage.
It says it's unresistible or unevadable. Usually
it says it's unresistible in the mechanics. I was looking. The effect is unresistible.
Yeah, tenacity down, you always land. That's why.
The
unique
debuff.
That's cool.
So he actually deals physical damage and attacks. Again, he always does 2 attacks. If the enemy had protection, he'll inflict that tenacity down and an additional attack. So the only time he's going to go through tenacity up and apply a debuff is if it's a character that has protection. There we go.
Look at that. The panel learning on the fly.
Hey,
If
science!
they don't have protection, and they have if they have tenacity up and no protection, he's not going to get that third attack, and he's not going to get that tenacity down.
Try to stump us. We're going to figure that out together.
That's
Don't you
right.
worry about that.
Right. We've got the chalkboard. We've got the dry erasers. We got
That's
this.
science.
Science. I'm telling you. All right, let's go to someone who has a higher metachlorian count than Master Yoda, Jedi Master Destro.
How do you feel about that? Now that you gave that as the introduction, I'm wondering how she feels, and if that's blasphemous to say that.
No, she just has a higher metachlorian count than Jedi Master Yoda. So
Just ask the question.
don't argue with me, Frodo.
All right. Question from What Else 73. I faced another Revan team in Arena, and the team is below 200 speed. Revan and Grandmaster Yoda are modded with offense sets, but the other three have health sets. Why does it destroy my over 220 speed team?
Oh man, those speeds. Okay. Well, the offense for Grandmaster Yoda, if he can like one-shot stuff, it makes up for his lack of speed. Now, Revan being super slow, I don't recommend that. You know, I mean, he can still destroy stuff because then you're just choosing who to mark after. Like, if your Revan's going first, then obviously you have full control of who do you want to mark first, and then you do it, and then, you know, they have to kind of counteract whatever happens. So it's sometimes tougher. But for Yoda, like, he's great that he can work in any of that sense. Like, if he's just modded for sheer offense, like I've seen some people just go all out on they have an offense set, offense triangle, so they're getting like 7K offense. It's disgusting, and he can just destroy stuff. Because when you're doing Revan mirror matches, you're not always going to be critting, so that's why a lot of people go the offense route, because it's like, well, if he's not going to crit anyways, might as well just stack up all that offense and just when he hits, just to make it count. So that could be, I mean, without seeing your actual gameplay, because it's also, if you're making certain choices, that'll affect the match too. Like, if you're trying to focus down, say, like Jolie out the gate and he's just not dying, then you need to change your strategy. You know, especially if your Revan is going first, you have the advantage that you can mark whoever you want in your opening salvo there, and then you can just adapt to the situation. Like, did he say it's just a traditional matchup? Did he say anything about that? If it's just a traditional Revan versus Revan, or?
No, there isn't any particular details about the individual characters.
Because it's also, I mean, if you're struggling, like say it is the traditional one, you know, it's with GK, Jolie, Bastila, Grandmaster Yoda, Revan. If you're struggling in mirror matches like that, other than, like I said, your turn order and your how you're going about your kill order, I mean, you could also swap in other Jedi for your climb. You know, like Ezra works really well in there for extra firepower, and he also has the dispel, the buff dispel, which can come in handy, and his multi-hit. A lot of people like Hermit Yoda in there, again, for that extra speed, and then the power for Master's Training. So without knowing like full details, it's I hate that. Like, I wish I had more I could really tell you, like, but just think about that. Like, think about your attack order, what you're doing. Like, why did your match fail? Like, what happened? And then you can kind of adapt from that. But again, back to that point, that if Yoda can hit really hard, that makes a big difference. Like, speed is nice, but as long as he hits hard first, because he's your main damage dealer, you want him to be murdering stuff, because that's who it's all about in that, I guess.
You heard it here first. It's all about the murder from Jedi Master Dasher.
No. Well, yes.
Hashtag murder is good against other characters that are not Jedi. All right, next question for Xylo, Stoner Jedi.
Okay. So the next question is from Potpourri, and she asks, considering how Grievous was supposed to be coming out in November, would we be happier with this rework of Grievous and Friends if it was done in November instead?
Oh, hey, real quick. I gotta get going, guys. So have a good one, all right?
Okay.
Aw.
Oh,
Yeah.
bye.
Bye,
Bye, Lady
Adastra.
Adastra.
Bye,
Good
Adastra.
answer.
Oh.
Bye.
Well, honestly, I think it was like good old Maurice said earlier, right? Like it was like we, the fan base, kind of hyped it up a little more to be the meta and be a Revan killer. And I mean, honestly, I think not just for the people who invested, but for the fans of the character and like the Separatist droid faction and droids in general. I think it was kind of like a inflating tire, and like they had to watch it happen, right? You know what I mean? Like it was really nice when you got it, and then you got that hole, and it just slowly I personally feel bad for the people who did invest, because I mean, like it was so hyped up, and like T Money mentioned earlier, who knew like what it was going to do to the meta and PvP game modes, and now it's just it's another faction. It's okay. It's troopers. It's something that can win on offense, and I mean, either way, I think either way, November or now, it would have been received.
Zylo, they're saying they can't hear you. Can you speak up a little bit or closer to your mic, please?
Yeah. So I mean, I in general, just to summarize it, I think either in November or now, it would have been received the wrong way, and people were expecting it to be a lot more. So.
Okay.
All
And
right.
yeah, you're still a little bit quiet, Zylo. So when you come around, hopefully you can.
I'll switch mics. Sorry, guys.
That's okay. No, it's no problem. All right, let's go to Grand Old Arena Maurice next for the next question.
Okay. So for good old Maurice, question from Apropos Wooin. Question: what are the panel's favorites 3v3 teams as we approach the next Grand Arena?
Well, I personally, everyone's, I don't know, I'm trying to think. I like a lot of teams. I like to split up my first order. Crew, both Kylos and first order Stormtrooper. I generally put that team on defense. And then I use Phasma, Executioner, and first order officer on offense. If your first order officer goes first, and remember, you're not going to have the 30 speed from Crew, so you need to make it pretty zippy. If first order officer goes first in that comp, you can beat just about anything with that team if you have it modded properly. Defensively, I'm trying a bunch of stuff out. Vandor L3 and some sort of defensive lead is good. You Barris is an option. We had a guy Clash on our show a couple weeks ago. Big discussion about Chewbacca, Clone Wars Chewbacca, and the lead there for those two. He's constantly providing defense up and constantly keeping a buff on Vandor Chewbacca. So that's one that I'm looking forward to running, in 6-8 months when I get enough Carbonis for Clone Wars Chewbacca. I do like Karth and Mission and Zalbar, but I like them on offense for a lot of the reasons T-Money mentioned earlier. I like teams that regenerate protection on offense. Karth and Kira I use on offense. I like Kira, Stormtrooper Han, and Young Han. That's a good team that's pretty effective for me personally. Young Han, I really like Young Han. Then of course the Nightsisters. I do like to split up my Nightsisters like a DACA lead with Zombie and Acolyte is a team I like on defense. God, there's so many just off the top of my head. It's tough to, of course, Finn, Poe, Resistance Trooper on offense. I could go on and on and on. If you guys have any that you really, really like, by all means, or I missed or something.
Okay.
I can cover most of the ones I would want to.
Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. CLS, Chewie Han.
Well, yeah, there's some standard teams that are out there. We don't need to mention all
So
these.
that one I actually have played around with, and I use Kira Chewie Han, and it kind of becomes pretty nasty.
That's cool too, yeah. Chewie Han.
Django, Bobo, and Nest is a nasty one.
Ah, see.
Ooh, yeah, that.
One day, I'll have Django. One day.
You'll farm Django and you'll like it, good old Maurice. That's the end of it. All right, back to the top to Rocky Mountain High, Scissorman Warrior.
Okay. Question from Shadowvale. And the question is Juhani worth the Zeta, and what are her ideal mods?
Juhani is a B level character. If you're at the highest end and looking for places to place a Zeta that you don't know what to do with, then you can choose General Grievous or Juhani. You know, those are kind of the same level, sadly. For mods, you know, I don't honestly use her right now, so I don't know how I would mod her. I'd have to, you know, really do an analysis on her. She's a tank, so my first inclination is if you're going to be using her for PvP, that you're going to want to go a little protection and health heavy, just because that's what you do with most tanks. And she's a disruptive tank that regenerates a lot of health and protection. So, like I said, health and protection is probably the route I would go. I honestly am farming her to 7 stars now because she's farmable, but and I do use her at times as like a B-level squad character, kind of filler squad. But I wouldn't put a whole lot of energy and effort into her unless you know, you're all in on the OR squad. She does work really well on a 5v5 squad underneath Karth. I think she was designed for that team to have a dual tank with Zalbar, because he's got that disruptive taunt and she has that disruptive taunt, and it's just really hard to kill one or the other. So yeah, I would probably do a lot of health and protection for the PvP aspect.
All right. Next, we'll go to thinks maple syrup is the 5th food group. T Money G.
Do you have these written down?
No, I just think of them off the top of my head.
They're really good.
I just think of them off the top of my head.
You're a funny man.
I just think who's next? Okay, I'll go with that one.
All right. Question from What Else 73. Has anyone tried running the Separatist droids with a HK lead? And if so, how did it work out in your trials?
I'll pass to good old Maurice for this one.
The problem with this General Grievous rework is you know, we have nothing to test it on except Revan. Like there's nowhere to test it on except for Revan. You did ask about Separatists under HK, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Like if we were not going against Revan that has massive amounts of crit immunity and crit avoidance in their kits, I think it would be pretty effective, because Grievous, you know, you put 60-70% crit chance on him, you know, that's a lot, but I mean, let's say we'll go with 50 to 60, and he crits, he gets to go again, and that's the quicker he'll be able to fuel his health by using his little, you know, creepy crawler move, that he goes in and steals your protector or your health, and he builds his health pool, and the quicker you get that going, then you will start seeing the 40-50K basics that we saw in that video, you know, especially if the enemy's debuffed. It's very, very realistic. I do think HK lead is going to be a nice option for him. Grievous's lead is better than it was, but still, I don't know. I think it leaves a little bit out. I don't know what it's missing. The negative defense is nice. The crit avoidance is nice, but I'm not sure if you can have like negative crit avoidance. I'm not sure if at 0 it just cancels out, or you actually get, you know, if it actually, you know, if you have 60% crit chance, say, against a character with 0 crit avoidance, I'm not sure if his leadership ability basically makes you crit 100% of the time or not. I don't know that mechanic, but HK is going to be good, especially for B2. If you put real high crit chance on him, he goes pretty much on an infinite loop. So it's pretty cool. We didn't do any damage, but he is fueling turn meter for the other Separatists, which is a very, very interesting mechanic to fool around with. So keep it in mind. Just not again. I don't think it's going to work very well against Revan per se, but
unless you have Gamorrean Guard lead.
Yes, Gamorrean Guard lead trumps all. Yes,
right.
Theory crafting though a little bit, Go Maurice. So Droideka and B1 can't crit. So would you still put them under an HK, or what would you do if
Droideka can crit?
Under HK.
Droideka can crit. Droideka's basic, it's just like Chewie. Like Droideka's basic attack can crit. The additional white true damage numbers that you see do not. But then again, if you have your damage immunity on Droideka and he does crit on one of those assists or something, then it kind of negates the usefulness of the negative 50% speed. They just kind of cancel each other out, right? So I don't know. I think Droideka would be a very interesting plug-and-play character. I'm not real sure. He's the one I'm really struggling with in terms of modding and getting to work properly. He either just never takes a turn, or he goes too fast and he loses the immunity. He's the one that's really stumping me. So, yeah.
All right. Should we give Tia another question since she passed the buck to her? Her homie.
Mm-hmm. So another question from What Else 73, and his question is: with all these new Zeta characters we keep getting, do we have an Omega crunch still, a Zeta crunch, or some other type of gear crunch, or all of the above?
It really depends on what stage you're in as a player. And sorry, I'm just checking to see if I'm muted. Am I muted? No, I'm not.
No.
Okay, sorry. It depends on what stage you are in as a player. I have some really, new Whaley players in my guild. They have like 100 gear 12 characters and tons and tons of mods that they're super lacking in Zetas because they've only been in game for a certain amount of time, and that's really the ultimate limiting factor. For me, there's somewhat of an Omega crunch. I've been really conservative with my Omegas, but every once in a while I'll run across a character and be like, oh gosh, I can't believe I haven't Omega'd all of these really important things. So I go back and Omega them when I have extras. So, it all just comes down to budgeting and how long you've played for. Certainly right now in my guild, there's, people are hoarding Zetas, and lots of folks have, maybe not after the Grievous rework, but, 3, 6 full Zetas kind of waiting for, fingers crossed, Darth Revan coming next month. That's, I think it really depends on what stage in the game you're at.
All right, next question to the English Mafia godfather, Michael Hunt Corleone.
Okay. Question from Ray Rock. Has the panel tried Bulldog's video suggestion of using a less potent C-3PO for Phase 3 Sith Raid? He said he can get 20% with CLS, Han, C-3PO, BB-8, and Ezra.
I would like to pass this question purely on the basis that I don't actually do the Sith Raid anymore.
At least you're being honest. I know someone who does do the Sith Raid, Xylo Takedown, who is not answering because he's probably messing with the apprentice.
Sit stinky. What was the question again?
Yeah, we'd read for Xylo.
Have you tried the Bulldog video suggestion of using a less potent C-3PO in Phase 3 with a CLS, Han, C-3PO, BB-8, and Ezra team?
Oh, no. I use C-3PO in Phase 1 just because I knew the fin bug was already a thing. And I do like Bulldog's video, though. I will say that it looks really interesting, and I want to try it out the next run because I don't like the idea of the negative potency, though. That's the one thing. The team comp is a good thing, but it's just getting the team going is the hard part, and getting the damage output.
Yeah. Something to be cautious on with that too is that it does require a Zeta on CLS's lead, which isn't a Zeta that a lot of people have, because typically CLS has really only needed his it binds all things, and he becomes really effective. And so the question then becomes, is it worth to put a Zeta on CLS's lead as well, simply for the Phase 3 team? So just something to kind of consider with regards to that, because that's why you need a less potent C-3PO, because then they're constantly resisting and they're gaining that extra turn meter. So that's the basis of the team. Does it work? Yeah, it can work, but do you want to remod your C-3PO all the time? Or do you want to put a Zeta on CLS? So there's some other considerations you guys should make too before you guys push that team.
All right. Let's give Mike another question. Hopefully he can answer it because he's actually playing the game.
Okay. Question. Oh, I don't think. Let's see, which one do I go to? Let's go here. So we'll go to Ziglet's question. And he said, question, mods without speed secondary. Is there any specific secondary to look for or just sell it?
Um, n- okay. Yes, there are specific things to look for in the secondaries. However, what we need to know is where they're going. So, like Sith Trooper, you would kind of load not to have any speed. You could another one maybe would be Royal Guard. I know I'm going a bit old school here, but
let me just put this on here really quick, Mike. I think a lot of these questions are coming because we're getting a whole bunch of mods from these events, and people are filling up in their inbox, right? So how do you determine whether or not to keep a mod or sell a mod?
So for me, I've got to be honest. Speed is my filter, and I'm hitting the cap with every event and having to clear out loads. The ones I'm trying to clear out now are actually my slowest golds. They yield me the most credits back, and if they're in my inventory, then obviously they're not on anyone, and I can't see anyone where they're really going to benefit. So they're the ones that I'm kind of getting rid of. That would be my recommendation, would be to start at golds, then go down to purples and then blues and so on. Because the lower the color, the higher the chance that any showing stuff are going to get to a value that you would use. Wow. I got lost halfway through that.
Yeah. All right. Since we've been passing the buck, I'm all confused on whose question is next and stuff. So
we're back at the top.
Yeah, yeah. So screw all the arrows and stuff I have on my paper. I'm just going to go back to the top to Salesman of the Year Warrior.
Okay. Question from Most Mike. Question: who makes up the ideal Karth team, and what's the gearing priority?
All right, the Karth team. So gearing priority would be, I would do them kind of equally. I mean, obviously, we've been developing them at different times. So at this point, you probably should have some already developed and the other ones not developed. For example, Mission and Zalbar should already be developed in theory. If you're working on this particular team, if you're free to play and stuff, you probably haven't been working on this team. But if you're using this team or going that direction, you've probably already done Mission and Zalbar. So you would move on to the next pieces. Personally, there's a couple different compositions that are kind of fun and interesting to use. One of them that I like, obviously, Karth Onasi lead. You can use all of the OR together. They work really, really well together as kind of a conglomerate. They've been built great, but I like using Karth and then Canderous Ordo underneath him. Canderous is really built for Karth as well, and I do like Canderous Ordo underneath Darth Vader with Gamorrean Guard, the non-Zeta Gamorrean Guard, on 3v3. But on 5v5, Karth, Canderous, Mission, Zalbar, and then I actually like putting a Nest on that particular team on defense because Nest has that ability to daze and just kind of eliminate the possibility of all those calls to assist on a lot of the teams, such as First Order, Bounty Hunters, Imperial Troopers, Nightsisters that people tend to use as kind of counters. So Nest is kind of a fun little no you don't that's in there. And then Zalbar kind of keeps the heat off the team. But, you could do a double tank. It's always good on defense to have a double tank to throw a wrench in people's stuff. So you could obviously use a different tank instead of Nest. But Mission and Zalbar are kind of a dynamic duo. So they're kind of like Chirrut and Baze was, or, Wedge and Biggs were, kind of thing. So you really should do those pair together. Canderous, while he's actually really good, is probably the lowest on the totem pole for priority. And then Karth would be third because he's a lead and you really want his leadership. In fact, I had him at, gear 10, 3-star, and I Zeta'd him at 3-star gear 10 because his leadership is so great. So especially for the PvP situations with 3v3, 5v3, territory wars, grand arena, all that. So definitely, he's a priority, but like I've only got my cars at 5 stars or 4 stars. Sorry, I only have him at 4 stars and gear 11. That's as high as I can take him. So he would be third priority. With Mission and Zalbar, I would do those equally and then move over to Karth and then move to Canderous Ordo or any of the other Old Republic you decide to use. Chihani is a great tank in there in this specific situation because she's a second tank, a second taunt, and she's disruptive like Zalbar. But for me, because she's only, 3 stars, I just got her 4 stars. She is too easy to kill. So she's not really optimal in this particular team. But you could, put in a different tank in that situation and it would work just fine.
All right. Next question to someone who's never Zetaed a First Order TIE Fighter pilot. Oh, wait, she did. Team Money G.
All right. Question for Team Money from Ba-Ka49K. For Team Money, what Nightsister team holds best on defense?
Well, so defense is typically Asajj Ventress lead with Daka, Zombie, and Talzin. That's the core 4. Then the 5th really depends on who you have in your roster. A lot of folks put Nest with Nightsisters. I personally think that's a waste because Nightsisters are so OP already. There's other teams that Nest can go on if your Nightsisters are modded well. Stick your Nest in there maybe if your Nightsisters are not modded well, but I think that they're definitely worth the investment of mods. Others that can go on that team, certainly Barriss with Asajj Ventress is very, kind of traditional. Barriss gives that little heal all the time, and her big heal, of course. And every time the Nightsisters, as you know from using them in the raid, go from below health to full health, they're getting 50% turn meter. So that that just fuels and fuels and fuels the Nightsisters. Never ever ever, I learned this the hard way, nick a Nightsister when they have a Barriss. It is an absolute disaster. All of a sudden you're just facing this wall of damage and full turn meter, so you have to be careful. Others that you can't really do anymore that are ideal. General Kenobi, often Shore Trooper goes in there. Any pre-taunter that stops Imperial Troopers, you can mod to protect against Imperial Troopers too, by modding with mega health on your sisters. Sometimes even like mega protection on your zombie too, just to stop them from getting through that first shell of her. Yeah, that's kind of, Nest, Barriss. And then if you just have the sisters, if you mod Spirit, she's got quite a high base speed. If you mod her really quickly, then you have Ventress, Daka, Spirit, and Talzin through her assist move that are all potentially giving a stun on their first turn. So there's a lot going on with the sisters.
All right. Next question to Michael W.B. Smith Hunt.
Okay. Question from All Me. And he says, CG has been delaying kits and false advertised characters, which in an RNG and casino environment feels kind of impractical and shady. What is the refund policy on purchased characters?
I think if you go on to Reddit, you'll find CG Carry has actually published how to refund, both for Apple and for Android. That's it. There, I knew there was another one. Yeah, maybe I'll make a video of it. Hashtag I'm not salty much.
Quick question, did she put on that post that she was going to, on her end, accept all of those from the...
I think, if I recall correctly, she said that all, with the Android ones, that her team would process them all.
Okay, because
she said something about
processing them. Otherwise, you get stuck at the Android or iOS store level, and they sometimes will give you the refund, but sometimes they won't. It depends on whether the developer is willing to issue refunds. And traditionally, developers on the back end, they'll say on the front end they'll do it, but on the back end they won't. And then you have to basically get like Google Play or and the iOS store to basically file an insurance claim and pay you out. So it's really depends on developer, involvement as to whether they're willing or not.
And
Yeah.
with Android, I know you have to ask within 48 hours, and then Google will do it unless you have a history of asking for refunds. And then if it's beyond 48 hours, then it goes to the devs.
All right. Next question for Xylo Takedown.
Okay. Question from Potpourri. She asks, is a Grievous capital ship going to require Anakin ship to get? Who should I farm in fleet nodes after Karth? Sith fighter or Anakin ship?
I don't know. I mean, I think if they were going to do like a legendary ship, it would be more of like Galactic Republic as opposed to like specifically classifying ETA2, right? And then you'd have to have like a developed lineup too, for example. So you're not going to be able to go in there with Gear 9 crew members if this is the case. And I mean, like, that makes good sense because there's been the leak saying that the data mine Malevolence, right? And we've been expecting a new capital ship and Grievous rework. Maybe it'll spice up some ships. I could see ETA2 maybe, because ETA2 is the damage dealer that the Galactic Republic was needing. So potentially, yeah, you'll have to, gear up Anakin and make sure that he's doing some damage for you, because if he's not, dishing out that whole, and when he comes off the reinforcements, if you got him at that 5-star level, which would be the legendary unlock, his reinforcement is one of the best reinforcements in the game. Once you get it even at 5 stars, I was a big fan of the ship even at 3 stars. I got my Anakin up to gear 12 just for the ship, which I don't do for pilots. And I really think if it is like a legendary event for Malevolence and it requires the Galactic Republic, then yeah, you'll need Anakin for sure. Him and maybe like a decent 5s and Clone Sergeant. So you're gonna have to gear those characters up, and I think that would be cool. Yeah.
All right, next question for Dance Master Grand Old Maurice.
Speaking of which, you guys still have
Where's Felix at today?
See how I did that? See?
Yeah, where's Felix at?
Yeah, where's Felix?
Good old Maurice's reward to get his dance video is still available on Tiltify right now. At the end of the month, once the poll finishes and we figure out what good old Maurice's bonus dance is going to be, the price is going to go up on that video. So if you want your copy of good old Maurice's dance, now is the time to get it. I'll throw that out there here. Quick plug for the Tiltify, and the link is showing up in the chat by Nightbot.
Thank you, Finity. Thank you.
All right. So question for you, good old Maurice, from Jay Huffman. Question, who should I place an accuracy arrow on? I have one with 19 speed secondary, and I have no idea who to put it on.
None.
Really?
I mean, back in the day, we were discussing this on our Discord the other day. It used to be accuracy arrow on B2, but that was in the era of the Darth Maul meta. I can't think of any situation. In any situation, speed's going to be better, or even offense. I would even put protection. Unless there's some, I would always hold maybe a couple of your best accuracy arrows for each set, just in case there is some sort of evasion meta. And it's kind of slowly creeping back. We see the Droideka getting little bit of evasion. We see C-3PO and R2-D2 kind of sharing that evasion. There are elements that still exist, but right now it's not prevalent enough to warrant, I guess, putting an accuracy arrow really on anyone. I mean, that's in my opinion. And it sucks because that's a primary stat that just really has no, at least crit avoidance you can use. You can justify and use crit avoidance. Defense primary, but at least it serves its purpose. I don't think accuracy does enough at all to ever put it on. But
you make me cry.
Correct me. I mean, if I'm missing something,
there's one character in particular that I would put that on, and that's Scavenger Ray. Scavenger Ray has a horrible habit of missing and having her special attack, especially her leverage attack, getting evaded. I hate it. And when she does with it, she loses so much damage. And she can gain you when you put her under a Jedi training ray. I mean, it's not as bad, so you lose 11 speed and whatnot. But with BB-8 is basically pumping out all this extra stuff in order to get his special to go off, and then Jedi training ray is gonna, or I mean, Scavenger Ray is gonna go quicker. So she's the one more than anything that I would probably focus that on.
All right.
And another good one too. I was thinking if you get some bad RNG for Chex Mix, you could put that on Death Trooper to land Death Mark.
Well, we were talking earlier about our inventories being clogged up for mods. Honestly, like just click the accuracy primary, close your eyes, and just click, delete. You'll never even know they're going. I promise you.
You say that now and watch. The next mythic raid is going to be all evasion, and everyone's going to need an accuracy arrow. Watch.
Yeah, like Grim keeps saying, we might get this other mall. Robo Maul, right? So I mean, that'd be Maul brings another evasion meta back with him, and all of a sudden, you'd accuracy arrows everybody again. So,
all right, back up top to Warrior Presents.
Okay, question from Operingo. Question is, what is the best 3v3 Revan team since Revan, Jolee, and Grandmaster Yoda are easily destroyed by CLS, Han, and Chewie?
I actually would say that you want them to have to use that. And so I would still use that team. I still do use that team. I know that can be defeated, but couple of things. One, if you put your Revan team in the back row and they see it not on the front row, they think, oh, well, they're keeping their Revan for offense. And then they use their Chewie team to go through another one of your major meta teams, and then they get to the back and they're screwed. Or they are forced to use their major meta team versus a major meta team. That's fair, apples to apples. I'm okay with eye for an eye. I don't think it would be okay to put a less meta team out so they could use a less meta team and keep that meta team for a different team to kill. I would like to take their number one tool away from them, even if that means I have to put out the number one defense in the game. And for 3v3, that's Jolee, Yoda, and Revan, in my opinion. So I wouldn't change that team.
All right, there you go. Next question for TMG.
Okay. Question. You know what? This question fits T-Money well because you can go against Godo Maurice if you want to. Question from Acheron. Is there any use for an accuracy or defense arrow mod anywhere?
Well, I'm not sure about defense. Excuse me, but you got to look at the secondaries first. I know that example being the launch video that we did for our channel. Mecha Rogue on his Nightsister team used a speed arrow for Asajj because it had something like 260 flat offense or something like that. So you have to look at the secondary stats, and especially with 6E, if you've got like a mega offense percentage stat in there, you could have essentially a full offense primary plus whatever else you have in there. So you have to look at the secondaries first. I'll contradict Godo Maurice just because the first order fanboys are actually using an accuracy arrow, and Godo Maurice is probably, his skin's gonna crawl when I say this, on first order executioner. Because his first hit is so important. If he doesn't get that first hit, first order officer passes to first order executioner, and if he crits on his hit, then everybody gets 10% turn meter. Then that team starts to fly. So first order guys are using that, toying with that. Defense, I'm not too sure. Like really. With this General Grievous team, I think that's kind of a good example where you need to balance who has the highest health. And so you might need to use a crit avoidance arrow, a defense arrow, something like that, just to adjust for speeds and for health. You don't want Magna Guard, for instance, to have the highest health on the team because then he's got 2 taunts, right? You want to share that with Droideka. So it's defense, crit avoidance. It's a way to kind of manipulate different things. But the secondaries are going to be key on those as well. You have a defense primary with a bunch of offense and crit chance. I don't know about that.
If you have an accuracy arrow with 180 flat offense on it, just disregard me telling you to throw it away. That's definitely going to be pretty beneficial. So keep that one. But
you're looking for speed. You're looking, with accuracy or crit avoidance, you're looking for complementary stats. So if you're looking accuracy, you're probably looking for someone who lays down buffs or does damage. So like Omar says, offense, secondaries, and speed very often. For first order executioner, you're looking for double health plus offense would be an amazing accuracy arrow for him. And then for defense, complementary stats like protection or health or defense.
All right, next question from Michael Hunter.
Okay. Question from Aparingo. What is the issue with Droideka and Standalone in Heroic Sith Raid Phase 3?
Standalone.
The issue is the amount of damage that somebody recorded, which I believe was just over 19.5 million.
Yeah, but that's coincidental.
Yeah. I
can explain.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
So it's the mechanics, isn't it?
It's the mechanics. So what's happening is Grievous is using Standalone, and Droideka has a unique that whenever another Separatist ally uses an ability, Droideka has a chance to assist. And so what's happening is Grievous is using his Standalone ability, and that Standalone is actually triggering first, but at the same time, it's queuing up with a chance of queuing up Droideka to assist based on Droideka's unique. And then what happens is once the Standalone hits Droideka, Droideka's speed is equal to 0. And the damage on Droideka's basic is based on the difference in your speeds between who Droideka is attacking and Droideka's speed. Well, now one of the values is 0, and so it's creating a value of infinity. And so that 19 million is just coincidence because that's how much damage is left on Traya at the time that Droideka attacks. So you can actually one-shot Traya from like full health, and I think there's a couple of videos somewhere about that too. But it's a one-shot because of a infinity value coming up because of a 0 speed on Droideka and assisting as a result of that. So technically what's supposed to happen, and they'll probably change that, is that the Standalone hits Droideka first, and then Droideka can't do the assist, and so either the ability gets blocked, or Droideka attacks before the Standalone takes place, and then Standalone takes place, and Droideka just gets in one regular attack. And so that's probably the change that they're going to implement. It's a mechanic order issue with how that's working.
Oh no! I've just seen that I've got to wait 2 days before we can launch our next Heroic Sith. They'll have nerfed it by then. Damn it!
I'm not gonna have Droideka at 7 stars. I'm not gonna even bother. Which actually, I wonder if you guys have tested it. Have you seen how that works with Fracture? Because you get a potentially similar issue if you put a Fracture on somebody and then you attack with Droideka. Does Droideka one-shot him with the basic? Because I haven't tested that. I don't know if any of you guys have.
I'll try that out.
Write it down now. Droideka's awesome. It just opens up so many possibilities for all these obscure theory crafting. Just so much that character could be capable of doing. I'm pretty excited. I mean, you know, whatever your judgment is about the rework, so be it. But this Droideka character is pretty cool.
Droideka in the JTR squad as well.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah,
like,
it's good.
Whoa, hang on a sec. That was that was very interesting.
That is really good, Mike.
And in a PvP setting, I mean, you could use this Droideka low gear. You don't have to have a 7-star. I mean, there's a lot of uses for this character. You know,
the irony that the best Revan killing Separatist squad that you can run is one where you use only one Separatist droid.
Yeah.
I mean,
not named Grievous. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah. I mean, that's just another one of, oh look, someone dropped some soap. Wait a minute.
All right, next question for Xylo.
Okay, well, the next question is actually for everyone, so we can kind of go around the corn on this one. Question from Paparazzi and says, what is your #1 favorite Grand Arena tip? They're asking for one from everyone.
Speed leads.
3v3, run Cody with a Zeta and 5s. You'll lose Cody, but 5s will never die, and you'll win.
All right, I'll set that up in my squad.
How's that possible if you just save him? You just kill him.
Well, okay. But there is that potential then. Yeah.
Double check your mods before you join.
Oh God, yeah.
I think my sign up, indeed, good Morris. My tip is to rely on the community. There's that quote, no great ideas are ever original, and you can do your own theory crafting when you're kind of looking through different discords. People are coming up with these amazing creative teams, and you can build on that and change them based on your own roster. So it's just be part of the community's brainstorming, I guess, is my tip.
My tip is have a notebook nearby, and when you take a team and you win versus another team, write it down. Write down, hey, I took X, Y, and Z in against A, B, and C, and it worked. And any notes that you need to remember, because sometimes it takes a month to get back to another 3v3, and then you're like, what was I using? And some people will make the team comps and save them. I've done that. But then sometimes things change, and you're like, did I face that, or was it a differing comp? Like, last time they didn't have Django, and this time they do. Did I beat that before? So I know it sounds old school, but always keep a notebook with your successes and your losses, so you don't replicate your losses and you can replicate successes. And then when you see differing variants, you can take notes on that. But to Team Money's point, you're not alone. You should have a minimum of 40, 50 people in your guild, and you should be saying, hey, I'm facing this. I'm thinking about doing this. Is that a good idea, or do you guys have a better idea? And nobody knows your team or your roster better than your team, because they're the ones that are analyzing it, telling you what to do in territory wars and whatnot. So that's what I would do.
And we do something similar, Warrior, with our guild. Is we have a channel that is just absolutely no conversation. It's just, we call it GA counters and defense or something like that. And so we'll put in this held, this is what I killed this with, and it's just like a running resource that we contribute to. So same idea.
Respect and research your enemy or your opponent. Sorry, enemy. But you know what I mean? Have a look. I was astounded. My last Grand Arena, I faced two awesome opponents who, I couldn't defeat. And then the one with the best roster, their fastest tune was BB8 with 244. It was like, what?
Oh,
and
yeah, wow.
It was like, it shocked me. It did actually shock me. I reached out actually to say, can I offer some help? Because the roster itself was beautiful, but look at what you're facing. Don't underestimate any of the. If it looks too good to be true, then it could possibly be a trap.
The thing I would say is actually something Warrior brought up earlier. Part of the strategy is to try and drain the other team of their good teams when they're attacking you. Every team can basically be beaten, especially in 3v3. But the question is, what are they using in order to beat it? And so Xylo makes a good point with the speed. And another one is team with a lot of rezzing. The Nightsisters are really annoying. The Django Boba Nest team, which is just going to be ridiculously hard to kill without using a strong squad. Forcing the use of those either early or hiding them in the back, like in the case of a Revan team, so they can maybe use one of the stronger teams up front, is a strategy. So it's not just about what teams you have, but think about your placement and what you want your opponent to do. They may or may not do it, but it's also a really good idea to think about how you want that setup too.
Yeah, and one more thing I like to do for Grand Arena especially, I like to, when I'm like looking at my opponent's rosters, I like to go to the very bottom of their roster first. And I'm like, okay, they don't have this, they don't have this, they don't have this, and then go back to the top, look at what their pros and cons are going to be, kind of guess their move before they're going to make it, right? And then base my offense and defense on that. Like my defense, I change my defense every Grand Arena, every time around. So keep it fresh.
Another good one on the keep it fresh is don't be afraid to try differing comps you've never used before that are off the wall, because if you use the same exact teams every time, people learn and memorize the counters. One of the hardest teams I ever had to beat was an HK47 lead with T3 and BB8. Insane.
Ooh,
because
that's probably really annoying.
Yeah, T3 kept him alive, constantly regenerating health and protection, giving him full armor penetration, sharing his armor penetration because he had the Zeta, allowed for HK to hit for stupid amounts, and BB-8 was just over there rolling around, and then Illuminated Destiny was instant. It was like, what? It's 3v3. That shouldn't go off, for a while. And it's going off, and as soon as it went off, it was just an instant death. And I was like, and so now it was primed, and I had 3v3, and it was like, what am I taking in for this? Like, and he was just throwing in T3 that nobody ever uses, HK that no one ever uses, and they were both gear 11, and then his BB-8 did have, gear 12 and stuff, but it was just kind of an off-the-wall thought process for him that he just was like, let's see how he deals with this, and I didn't deal with it well. And that's good. That's the creativity you want to do. You want to have them go, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? Like, what's the counter to this? You don't want the community to know what the counter is, because that gives you the advantage at least for a turn or two. So don't be afraid of constantly evolving your strategy. I put out a Darth Vader lead with Canderous, Ordo, and Gam on defense once, and it had like 9 defenses because they just didn't know what to do with it. They were like, oh, this looks easy, and they went in and it wasn't easy, and they needed a kind of a high B or low A meta team to beat it, and they couldn't, and then they just primed the heck out of it. So it's just one of those things. You kind of want to keep your strategies evolving.
All right. Next question. I think
we are into the fun questions now, Ranger.
All right, go for it, brother.
All right. So first question from Grim. I'll ask you this, Ranger. Do you think they will fire CG Finity over the PR dumpster fire that is Grievous rework footage that has been instigated?
I hope so.
Hey, leave CG Finity alone. There's nothing here.
Screw CG.
Time out. Did a particular person get the nickname CG Finity?
Is it CG Finity or CG Brockfinity?
Unfortunately, they're claiming it's CG Finity. Brockfinity is a nuisance.
This same person used to appear on the RSG live stream in a special ship-specific segment only.
Used to is the key. Okay.
Okay.
No, it is not that one.
Okay.
That's Fugitive. That's different. Okay.
Fugitive is what you've dubbed him now?
No, he is.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I believe it's CG.
Fun question time. My brain just disappeared. I'm just going to mute myself now.
Yes. The person who you are referring to, I believe, is CG Fugitive. The next one, Revenator question. 3 episodes away from episode 100 of Jedi Academy. Any special plans? What do you guys want to do for 100?
Actually.
Not dance.
Okay, so no good old Marie's dancing. We should plan something fun for that. We'll think of something. How about that? Darth
make Finn dance.
Yes.
We'll
Finity dance.
Right.
He's already done karaoke, so yeah. I mean, he could dance with Gom, right?
Yeah, I've embarrassed. I'll karaoke while good old Maurice dances. We can do it.
Yes.
Darth Hideous question: how about Darth Gamorrean Guard? Who's getting their tunes ready? 3 Zeta Gamorrean Guard. He's coming soon.
Still considering Darkside Bastila, it seems weird to put a foresight at the start of battle for leader in her. It just seems wasted, but there is some niche like uses, and I'm wondering if that 3-star Gamorrean Guard will really need that. And then I want one for HK. So you need 5, and I've got 3 saved, so I need 2 more. We'll see, but I'm definitely gonna wait till I have 100, and then then I can start spending them on other characters, but I'm gonna keep my 5.
I'm on the opposite end of Warrior. Like, I have the characters ready, and I wanted to put the Zeta on Karth, and got the stars for Juhani and Karth through shipments a couple weeks ago, and now I'm just hoarding up Zetas and materials and gear right now, and just waiting.
Yeah, next question from Helen. Next question. A little birdie told me that now is a great time to donate $15 to the Stu Strong campaign. How can one make this donation? Oh, thank you for that, Helenix. So if you guys missed it at the beginning, if you guys go to the Tiltify link, which is in the description and also popping up by Nightbot in the YouTube chat, you can go to the Tiltify and buy the Stu Strong wristbands from the reward section. And special treat for you guys is on Monday, we will be emailing out everyone that has ordered a Stu Strong wristband for a special live stream that we will be doing at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday, where we will be doing the roster review of SP Crumb. His actual Galaxy of Heroes roster, we will be doing a roster review of. So that'll be on Monday, 9 p.m. So if you guys would like to watch that and get the link and watch it later for all of your enjoyment, make sure you guys get that RSG Stu Strong wristband for the American Cancer Society. All the donations and proceeds from this, from Tiltify, go directly to the American Cancer Society. We don't see any of it. So please donate. We're getting close to our goal here. And as we get closer to our goal, you get closer to the lightsaber raffle. So we are on our way there. Next question, Andrew Kopta question. Has anyone made a DVD copy of episode 4 from the old VHS tapes before Lucas had a chance to ruin it? Ranger?
Now.
Sith Lord 72 question. Love the RSG streams. Has RSG done or could do a detailed mod instructional video explaining basics of mods, stats, sets, and slicing? We did that when mods first came out, when mods 2.0 came out. We went through a lot of that, but I guess now situation has changed. Grande and I have been working on more mod videos. Now, we did want to put one out this week, but because I have construction going on at my house that is, I think, pretty much over now, and windows replaced and no AC and all kinds of nonsense this week, we will be working on getting out more videos to you guys starting this week. So be on the lookout for some mods ones, and we'll probably do kind of a refresh of all that stuff supported.
Science.
No air conditioning in February is brutal. I feel your pain.
Yeah, my house went up to like 87 degrees inside, and it's humid in Florida. So yeah, it was.
Oh,
not...
you poor thing! If I go outside for more than 5 minutes, I die.
Yeah, I was being sarcastic. Infinity just shut that all the way down.
Well, I mean, if you run out there naked, it seems like you're going to die. But if you wear a jacket and stuff, I think you'd be okay.
I am from the west coast of Canada, where it stays at a wonderful 18 degrees Celsius year-round.
Okay, Bobby.
I die. That's what happens.
One of our guild mates showed us was it a Minnesota farmer that built a 50-foot high snowman?
Yeah. There's plenty of snow up there for that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
No friend.
It was MJ.
Do you want to build a snowman? All right.
And last question from Grim for Finn and Ranger. It's just been leaked that Borderlands 3 is getting a big reveal this month. Will you guys be getting Borderlands 3 when it comes out and stream it?
I will not, but I know Finity will.
I probably will, yeah. Although the next Borderlands is the Borderlands 2 VR one that they're only doing with PS4 or something, right? So we'll have to see what platforms and stuff they're going on, and if they're shifting more towards console or kind of continuing with everything. Because as long as it's on PC, I probably will.
We'll have to wait and see then, I guess.
And that's it for all the questions.
All right. Now we get to the portion of the show where we do the big pimping. Start with our boy, Scissorman Warrior. What's got going on over there in that channel world of Warrior Presents?
What is going on? All right. So, yeah, you can find me on Warrior Presents. You can find me daily uploading new information on Twitter. February, you kind of have to write off. It's just a really bad month for me. I got 5 days off total in the entire month. And I was moving in that process from one house to another. So starting to settle in the new home and starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel for March. I'm going to be ramping up. I have a couple of Command and Conquer videos, which you guys don't care about. I have roster reviews that are going to start back up, and I'll be doing roster reviews again. We'll probably have a couple a week, so that'll be good on the alternate channel. And then on my main channel, I plan on getting back into the 2 to 3 videos. The live stream will always be Scissorman, but my other videos will be off my main channel. I know people are like, do you have a main account anymore? Because the videos have been lacking a little. So definitely want to kind of get back in the swing of things. Appreciate everybody's patience in this process. But yeah, it's been a little bit chaotic, but I think we're getting to the end of that and excited to kind of start putting out some fun videos for the community. I do have a lot of the pillar system videos that are kind of going to be follow-ups that I already have planned. I just need to kind of walk through them is all. So we should be doing those over the next few weeks. So be looking forward to that.
All right. Next, we'll kind of go to, well, we're going to combine. T-Money, Good Old Maurice, Pimp Your Stuff. You guys are kind of a package duo. So, pimp your stuff.
Rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah. All right, T-Money, you do the Operation Metaverse, because I know Good Old Maurice also does some other things. So okay. You do the Operation Metaverse.
Yes.
Sure. So we have a YouTube channel called Operation Metaverse, and we stream every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Usually 9:33 p.m. actually, because I'm scrambling with tech at the last minute always. We had a droid fanboy on there last time. Lots of great insight into Grievous, and we'll probably be doing that again this week, barring anything else. Hopefully, Good Old Maurice, who's been hard at it in Arena, maxing out his Arena battles, will be able to show us all the teams he's created. Sorry. Some pressure on you there, buddy.
I'll be sick next Tuesday, guys.
Yeah. We also have we're doing a patron workshop. We had a great one, if I do say so myself, last Thursday evening on Rev Encounters. We did Ray and Nightsisters, and today Good Old Maurice is taking us through CLS. So that's what we spend lots of time doing.
All right, Mike, anything you want to pimp, brother? Michael?
Yeah, make the mute button easier to switch off.
Oh, well,
Still struggle with that mute button. Yeah, I did a light side territory battle series running Carth. Let's give a shout out to Grande. Carthonassis lead. I ran that through the light side, and I've been trying to run a Grievous one through the dark side option, which obviously we're in at the moment. So I've got that going. I also put out a video which is basically roughly 13 minutes of me moaning about the Grievous rework. You'll know which one it is. It's the one titled "A Polished Turd is Still a Turd." So there's that as well. Yeah, and just some messing around. I've also been able to get a few ship videos again from Darkside Territory Battles where I get to use the shuttle. So just playing around with the new shinies, basically.
All right. Very nice. Xylo.
Yeah. Check me out on YouTube, Takedown Games. Just been starting to do some live streams too. I'm gonna be finally free. I've been working 7 days a week for the last couple years. I'm currently free now on Saturdays and Sundays, so I'm gonna be doing live streams on Saturdays and Sundays. Got a new Blue Snowball microphone and everything, quality audio and everything. If you guys wanna come check me out on the weekends, and then gonna be doing some streaming tonight. Give some feedback on what's been going on the last couple of weeks about the command shuttle, Grievous rework, and possibly the HK-47 rework, the rest of what's coming this month. And come stop by, come say hi, and I appreciate all the support you guys always give me, so thank you guys.
Absolutely. And Good Old Maurice, what else you got going on besides Operation Metaverse?
Yeah, T-Money gave you guys the scoop on that. She's much, much better than I am. But Sunday nights I also do a live show, the Alliance live show with Ramon Azab, who is the frequent guest here as well. This Sunday should be interesting. Ramon actually, many moons ago, he's the only man I know in this game that used to take first place consistently and sit there like a rock with General Grievous lead. Many moons ago. So it'll be interesting to get his take on this rework. I haven't spoke to him, so it's going to be interesting to see how upset or pleased he is with this. So
he's actually surprisingly been quiet. I expected him.
Yeah,
because I remember he used to run, a Gear 12 Grievous over 2.5 years ago, and he loved it. He made it. He forced that square peg into that round hole years ago.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. So, yeah, we'll see. It's generally it's around the 12:30 a.m. ish, Sunday evening, Monday morning. I guess it depends on where you live. Ranger's been on there a few times.
I'll try to be.
Yeah, Avinash also joins us. She's pretty much a co-host now. She's been pretty consistent on the show. Nice, good insight there. T Money's joined us a couple times, so it is always a good panel. Well-rounded panel. Everyone has different strengths, weaknesses, likes, dislikes, so it's usually a good discussion. So come hang out with us then.
All right. And if you're watching this, guys and gals, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, then you're watching the Realitude Gamers. We do all kinds of streams. Every Saturday we do the Jedi Academy, which you're watching. We also have other content that you guys can check out. Tomorrow we've got the D&D campaign going on. Monday through Friday from 12 to whenever we get done, 1:30. Sometimes longer. We do the lunch stream, Star Wars Galaxy Heroes lunch stream. Wednesdays, we have the longest running live stream in the community with our Wednesday night show. And then we got other stuff we're streaming. Tuesdays, we do PC Gaming. Thursdays, we're doing Tactical Monsters. Tuesdays as well, we're doing Battlefront. And Friday, we're doing Battlefront. So there's a lot of stuff we got going on. But do me a favor, not just with us, stop what you're doing right now. Like our video. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, if you'd like to continue to get all these updates on the content and everything. But do the same thing for these other guys. They come here to answer your questions, show some love, show some support. Do the same thing for them. Go check out their videos, check out their channels, subscribe, support them so they can keep putting out the great content that you guys enjoy. And then for last but not least, we've got our Patreon. If you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, you can. We have a link down below. And then Finn, anything you want to, as we close up, talk about with the Tiltify page?
Make sure you get
Make sure what? You're cutting out, Finn.
You get your wristband as soon as possible.
All right.
Monday, big day.
All right. If you want to see us review Crumb on Monday, please get your wristband. We will be sending out that link through email only. So, with that being said, on behalf of myself and the wonderful Jedi Academy Council panel, thank you guys for stopping by and being here with us. Have a great rest of your day, and we will holler at you later. Peace.